Hey everyone, and welcome back. So I was actually off by almost a week. For some reason I was thinking like the 17th was the anniversary, but it is actually today. July 10th is the anniversary of the release of John Carpenter's Escape from New York, which came out on this date in 1981. And as some of you know, it is actually one of my favorite films, one of my top favorite films. In fact, depending sometimes my list kind of alters a bit. Usually ends up around 5 or 6. I might, if I had to do a top 10, but indeed it never kind of changes from there, because I absolutely love the film, which is kind of funny because it wasn't the first John Carpenter film I ever saw, and indeed for the longest time it was maybe around like fourth or fifth, depending, like if I had to list like my favorite John Carpenter films, like you just always go, I think, in more the most obvious order. It was like Halloween was always number one, and then like The Fog or The Thing and stuff, and they kind of like jumble all around. But like over time, like Escape from New York, for whatever reason, was just one. Like when I saw it when I was a kid, I absolutely loved it. But even then, it was just kind of one of those, like, I just really, really enjoyed watching it, and I would watch it a lot. But I never really thought of it as like one of my favorites or anything. But then as the years kind of went on, I sort of had to, one day, I remember it was just like I started to realize, I was like, what, it is actually not only one of my favorite films, but it is also personally just one of my, probably my favorite John Carpenter film as well. So needless to say, absolutely had to take a moment out of the day, even though I was originally off by a week, but just kind of wish a happy anniversary to the release of one of my favorite films. In fact, indeed, I have the most recent Scream Factory 4K release right here, which, believe it or not, despite me having it now for like a month, almost a month and a half now? Actually, I haven't watched it yet. I was actually, because I've gotten so behind in my movie watching, I've been catching up a lot lately. But when I realized that, the anniversary is coming up in July, maybe I should just wait and watch it for the anniversary. So that's indeed what I'm doing. So actually today, I am actually going to make time to finally watch this version. I mean, granted, it's identical to the Studio Canal release, but still, I'm gonna make it official and watch this today. Not that I have a really reason to, it's like any reason is good enough for me. But I always like to give it, a little bit more, make it a little bit more special if I can do it on an anniversary. And just real quick, just because I think it's actually been a while, I'm gonna actually just mention some of my favorite Escape from New York collectibles that I have. Now, a lot of them, you guys pretty much already know, but I have the most obvious, because it's in like practically every video, is obviously the original one sheet, which I have right now, right here in the room, which is basically the center of the room, which means a lot to me because it is rolled, and you don't find them rolled that easily, because during that time, pretty much most of the posters were folded. And so you have to be careful if you come across one during, kind of like 70s, 80s specifically of a poster, 70s to mid 80s. If it's rolled, you have to be really careful, because there is a good chance it's probably going to be a bootleg poster and not an original one. Luckily, though, I bought that from a very reputable seller, which is why I also spent the money. I spent more money to actually have it framed than I did actually for the poster, which wasn't cheap to begin with. But I did have a rolled one. I have a folded one, which you can see here, which is actually the one I had signed by John Carpenter when I met him a couple years ago, which actually that anniversary is coming up now that I think about it. When I saw John Carpenter in concert, which is, as I mentioned before, is one of my favorite nights just in general. Also have an original one sheet in the 30 by 40, which is the ones that were at the time, they would do a small run of posters. I think they did for about 3 decades basically, where they would do small runs of posters printed on a slightly thicker paper stock. It's almost like a thin cardboard. A little bit rare, but they're also a little bit more fragile. So collectors kind of go back and forth on whether or not they like them or not. I'm just happy to have one. Actually, that was the first one sheet I actually had for Escape from New York. I also have the teaser poster, which is cool. I think this was actually one of the more recent ones that I got for Escape from New York, which you can see here. And what I love about this one is you can see the little faces, the profiles down in the bottom, which I love. Also have the original lobby card set, which was, that took a long time to get, because that was, I found a lot of 7 of them, so it was missing 1. But I got it for such a great price. And then, like, I think it was months after that, I actually found somebody who was selling literally just the one that I didn't have, and it was somebody else. It was completely different. But that one card, because it was the one, I think, that has, it's Snake and Adrienne Barbeau, so I think a lot of people buy that one to get it, like, autographed and stuff. So that one actually costs almost as much as the other 7, but I was happy to just complete the set. And a couple of foreign posters. I have like this really cool German poster, which is nice, which is huge. Like, it's quite large. Speaking of large, I also have the French poster, which again is huge. I think it's dimension. I think it's like 47 by 63, if I remember correctly. The dimensions is quite large. I also have this video poster that was done for when I think when the VHS and the Laserdisc came out in the, I guess that must have been like early 90s, I guess, as well as a glow-in-the-dark Mondo poster, which is very, very cool. Also, you know what? I have like a couple other posters that I don't know if I've ever even shown. That was kind of rolled up at the moment. I don't know what to do with them, but I have them, you know, so it's like, I don't know. I don't even know if I have a picture of them. I got to change that. I got to log my stuff again. I also have this poster that was an artist proof that was cool, that was done for when Studio Canal did the re-releases, and this is one obviously has the new artwork for Escape from New York. And then rounding out the posters, obviously this is one that I got a long time ago. I have no clue if I'll ever do anything with it or not because it is massive. It is the largest poster by large in my collection, and it's this Italian poster for Escape from New York. It's a two-piece poster because it is so large. So it's actually in the middle. It actually it's two different sheets that you place together. It's basically about 5 feet by 6 feet. It is gigantic. I don't know what the heck I'll ever do with it, but it's so cool to have it. And then obviously, you know, I have different soundtracks. I mean, one of my favorite things was that I was able to actually track down the original LP album, which I framed next to some of my other John Carpenter albums as well. Obviously, in this room, of course, over here, which you can see here, is my Snake Plissken statue, this PCS Snake Plissken statue, which I do have a video on, by the way, if you want to check that out. And I surrounded that with a couple of the different video releases. This one here is my VHS from when I was a kid. I actually bought this VHS. I remember saving up my allowance and buying it. It's the original like Nelson video. We would just watch it all the time. So I'm really happy I never got rid of it or anything. So it adds to the display. And then in the back there, that's actually the early 90s video version that I found that VHS, I think about 2 years ago or something. And then the Laserdisc in the back, again from that same time period, as well as an old video disc that I found on eBay like a couple years ago, which is kind of cool. And then just like one of the many CD releases, as well as an audio cassette. This is my audio cassette from when I was a kid. These will again listen to all the time. And then the Steelbook from the Studio Canal release. I have so many different versions of Escape from New York on video at this point, including the PSP version, the Sony PSP version, which I do have a Sony PSP, and yes, indeed, that does work, which is kind of cool. You know, if need be, I don't know when that would ever happen, but you know, I could always watch Escape from New York on my Sony PSP. And obviously, I have like other autographs and things like that and figures and things, but it's, you know, I sort of rambled on enough, you know, I don't want it to kind of sound like I'm gloating or anything. Sometimes I don't get to talk about it enough, so definitely fun to do. So again, I just wanted to wish a happy anniversary to Escape from New York. So if you have some Escape from New York memories, I definitely would love to hear them. And as always, thank you for watching, and I will see you on the next one.